We just heard sounds made by one of Jean Tinguely's sculptures called Radio Stockholm. He built several of those radio sculptures, the first ones in 1962. Radio Stockholm belonged to the interior of the big woman, Hon, that was built in Moderna Museet in 1966. The radio sculptures are sabotage technology, Tinguely's speciality. Now comes sounds and comments regarding Homage to New York, the big self-destructing sculpture that was made in New York in March 1960. And last on this side of the record, some Tinguely sound made by a Japanese composer.
We are listening to the sound of art, a mechanical sculpture that is playing itself in the geodesic dome located in the rear yard of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. The mechanical work of art we are listening to is being built by Mr. Tinguely, a French sculptor well known for his mechanical sculptures. You work with this as an art form?
As an art form, yes.
Yes. And what are you trying to express with this?
Je m'exprime suffisamment. Non, je ne suis pas interprète et historien d'art. Je n'ai pas à me justifier.
He says he refuses to justify himself. He's not an art historian. He doesn't have to. He's just expressing himself.
Mr. Tinguely, if we could hear some of the sounds the sculpture made, and our translator answered.
He says the sound isn't organized yet. It isn't put together yet, so now you wouldn't get any impression of what the sound. It's all going to be put together later.
Right. Is it possible to hear some of the individual sounds, though?
Yes. You have a little sound. It's very nice music.
Here are some other sounds that will go into the music Mr. Tinguely says his mechanical sculpture will make. All those recordings and comments were made over the last few weeks, and on March 17th, I had the honor of being invited to witness the life of Mr. Tinguely's sculpture. And when I came to the Museum of Modern Art, I was given a long sheet which had many comments printed and actually a sketch of the piece of sculpture, and it was titled Homage to New York. And it was subtitled A Self-Constructing and Self-Destroying Work of Art Conceived and Built by Jean Tinguely. Now, this was to take place between 6:30 and 7 p.m. on March 17th, 1960. Actually, it started and took place between I'd say about 7:30 and somewhere near 8:30 on March 17th, 1960. And in the museum were members of all the press associations and Life magazine and many photographers. I'd say close to 100 photographers and 400 or 500 people. With Mr. Tinguely and myself is photographer Ken Hyman. Mr. Hyman, can you tell us a little about this sculpture?
There's a large roll of paper which, as the machine will go, the paper will come down a slide and paint a poetic painting, and will burn up as it unravels. At the same time, bottles will slowly slide across a chute on top of the machine and exploding with colored water, and each colored water will have an odor, a smell, a perfume, and smell very lovely, I understand. and with different colors. And in 1/2 hour, it will use up its life and will begin to disintegrate. Wheels will fall off, pieces will fall down, and finally it will destroy itself and in many parts on the ground. It will die. And this is what he meant by this whole life of this machine.
Parts of this sculpture came on fire. And here's the actual sound of the fire extinguisher being used on the sculpture. At this point, I will now play the sound, or actually the last sounds of Mr. Tinguely's Homage to New York as it died. I wondered what comments Mr. Tinguely had as he saw his Homage to New York come to life and die, and I asked him.
How do you feel now? Oh, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. It's very complex, and it's a work that have many capacity.